Hi, everyone, and welcome to the final installation of our three-part smartphone cinematic series. My name is Lauren Smith, and I'm one of the program coordinators at Sage Collective. And here at Sage, we are rewriting the narrative on aging and encouraging us all to remain curious. Today, we'll be learning along together as our special guest of the evening walks us through the steps to share the home videos turned cinematic masterpieces that we've been creating in parts 1 and 2. And if you didn't get a chance to join us last week, no worries. The skills we learned tonight can be applied to any video you have. And lucky for you, we have the recorded versions of all of our previous live events available on Facebook and YouTube. Before we jump into our lesson, though, a quick reminder that season 2 of Sage Advice Vibrant Living, the podcast, is available now. Our latest episode, Live Long and Strong, Age-Defying Health Hacks for People Over 60, features Dr. Ian Smith and raw foodist Karen Calabrese. To learn the secrets of the Blue Zone lifestyle and explore how older adults in different regions are defying the so-called laws of aging, tune in. Okay, now let's get into the vibrant learning lesson of the evening. I'm thrilled to introduce once again our resident video expert, Dimitri Williams.
Hi,
If
everyone.
this is your first time meeting Dimitri, hello. He is joining us from Kingstree, South Carolina, and has been fully involved in video production and editing for the past 10 years. As a video specialist, he has spent the past decade working on a variety of projects in the corporate sphere and crafts engaging video content for many different audiences. So Dimitri, thank you again so much for joining us tonight. I'm sad that this series is coming to a close, but I am looking forward to what we'll be learning today. Would you mind walking us through a little bit of what you'll be talking about tonight?
Absolutely. Again, Lauren and Sage Collective, thank you for having me tonight for our last installation of Smartphone Cinematics. Tonight, we will just be going over the simple tool, which is sharing your videos for the world to see, for your family and friends to experience the memories that you are creating. And so I'm just going to walk you through that easy process on tonight.
Yay! Okay, I'm so excited because all the videos that we've been making over the past 2 iterations, I'm very excited to share with all of my friends and family. I think they're gonna like them a lot. And for our audience, please throw any questions that you have throughout the entire presentation in the comments, and I'll be sure to chime in and share them with Dimitri as we go along. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Dimitri. Please take it away.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so allow me to share my screen with you. We're going to go over some simple basics in regard to sharing your videos on social media. And this is pretty fun and pretty engaging, especially when you're trying to get your content out to your family and friends and you're so excited about sharing them. But there are some things that you want to be cognizant of, and I will explain those later on in the lesson. So we're just going to talk about sharing your story and inspiring others in your community today. But first, before we do that, we must remember that it requires exporting our videos so that we are able to, I'm sorry, did it go to the next screen? Probably not. Give me 1 second. All right. Well, we're going to be talking about exporting your videos today. And it's just simple as just downloading your video from the apps that we talked about earlier in the lessons, and just downloading them to your phone or your smart device, and then being able to upload them to any platform that you want to upload them to and share them to. So the first thing that you want to do is just open your camera or your video recording app on your smartphone, wherever you may have recorded the video that you want to share or have taken the photos, wherever you, whatever device you are using, you want to view those photos and videos in the photo library for smartphone use for iPhone users. And I believe it's the same, or if it might be called gallery for Android users. But that's where you can locate the video that you've been working on that you are ready to share with the world. And you'll just select that video and you want to export it from your camera, you want to export it from your camera roll or your gallery. And then just look for the share or export button. And that usually is represented by an arrow pointing upwards or a box with an arrow coming out of it. So very similar to this. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second so that we can review that skill that we learned earlier in the lesson as far as exporting your videos. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So now as it comes up, you'll notice this is CapCut. So if you have not joined us in any of the lessons prior to today, then we talked about the CapCut app and how it makes video editing very easy for beginners. So if you're still looking for a tool to use to edit your videos and you're still feeling like, it's kind of taking me a little bit of time to really get the full understanding of how to use these tools and maximize them to my capability, to my ability to make the videos look how I want them to look. Don't worry, just take your time, like I said before, and just give yourself some grace. It takes practice. But CapCut is a very easy shortcut that you can use to help you create those videos. I recommend watching part 2 of this series so you can see exactly what CapCut can do. But to export your video, you want to make sure that you select the project. And you'll notice this here, it says export. Okay. We said earlier that sometimes it could be indicated by an arrow going upward or coming out of a box. Sometimes it's just as simple as download or export. And so what you want to do is export, and it's just going to go through that render for you. Render is just another term for a process. And then once that is done, it will give you some options to choose from. You can share it directly to your TikTok. You can share it to Instagram or your stories, whether that be Instagram stories or Facebook stories, WhatsApp, and then Facebook as well. It also gives you some other options, but these are the main ones that you want to focus on here. So just choose your preference, and from there, you'll be able to start the sharing process. Okay. Now let's take it back to the presentation. So we've learned or recapped on how to export our videos or how to export our photos if we're using any apps. But if you record it from your phone and you just want to share whatever it is that you recorded just without any edits, you can do that simply from your smartphone yourself. So let's just go into sharing your videos and where can you share them. So earlier I said Facebook Messenger. So these are the icons. So you probably see these often: Facebook Messenger, Instagram, messages, and even email. You can share them anywhere. And so you'll look at some of these widgets here, these little gadgets here, these pictures. So let's take a look at this one first. So this is me going directly into my photo library or my gallery, whichever one is referenced on your smartphone or your smart device. You want to open your photo library and go to the exact video that you want to share. This is the video that we created in part 2 using CapCut. And so when you hit share, the share icon, and remember, it's going to look like an arrow going upward, you'll notice that you have some options here, you have some options here, and even here. So the first layer is just for iPhone users where it kind of says, hey, do you want to share it to some of your frequent people that you talk to or text? So they'll kind of give you some highlighted people that you kind of communicate with on a daily basis. Or you can use some of the apps, which is going in a circular loop over here on this side. So you have YouTube. You can even upload your videos to YouTube. You can upload them to Facebook, like I mentioned, or you can also just upload a video straight to the editing app. So you'll notice Filmora and CapCut also listed here. So if there was a video that you filmed today and you say, I want to add some effects, I want to edit this video before I post it, you can share it directly to the app and begin the editing process. Again, if you need any reference on how to edit, feel free to watch part 1 and part 2 of this series. And then also, say for instance, we want to share to Facebook. So we just click Facebook, and then it will give you, your phone should give you some options on how you want to share your video. So if you ever heard of Reels, those are just short little video formats that are on Instagram or Facebook, and they're called Reels. And it's kind of very familiar or similar to TikTok. So you know how you constantly are scrolling and there's a video after a video, one after the other. That's kind of what Reels are, just in Instagram and Facebook. You can post it directly to your news feed. You can also post it directly to your story if you just want something quick to post. Or again, you can send it via message. So there are a lot of options already for you to share your video, for many people to see it, for many people to experience the very thing that you experience. Okay. So we're going to talk about some essential tips for social media sharing. But before we do that, we're going to really dive into some secure things that you need, some security and safety measures that you should familiarize yourself when it comes to sharing your videos. So I just wanted to highlight and quickly go over exporting your videos and preparing them to share. But then we're going to go into more details about what to do next once you've uploaded your video to the app or wherever you plan to share your video. But first, we're going to make some time for some quick questions, just in case anyone had some.
So far, we're rocking and rolling. You are really walking us through very well. No questions in the chat yet.
Okay, not a
But
problem.
how do you feel?
I feel great. And I just want to reiterate that, video editing is kind of a drawn out process and could take some time, but the magic really comes when you're exporting the final video or the final project and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is cinematic gold right here. And so I really want to just talk about sharing in the next few minutes, because I want you all to be very mindful of the tools and the resources that you have to share, but also the things that you should look out for, because it's very important. The internet is a vast community. It's so many layers to the internet that we have yet to reach. And so I want to make sure that when you're sharing your content, you're doing it safely.
Very true. Because the kids like to say the internet is forever. So
Yes.
Whatever you put up there, even by accident, it might have a life. It might take on a life of its own.
Absolutely. We want to be mindful that if it's on the internet, more than likely it will be on there for a pretty long time. And so let's be cognizant of that. Yes.
And before I run away, a quick question from Mike. When trying to share a large video, what are some tips to reduce the size without losing some of the footage?
That is absolutely a great question. And so let me see if I can resume my screen share, going back to us exporting from CapCut, and see if I could pull up those export options for you. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
Thanks so much.
Yes, of course. And thanks for the question. Okay. So once it comes up, you'll notice here. So for example, this is CapCut. So I'm using CapCut to export my video. But say, for instance, it's a very large video. Sometimes our cameras film in 4K, and sometimes we forget to take the setting down, or sometimes there's videos that you want to share, but they're just too large. So the first thing that you can do is just go into your export settings or your export options, okay? So you'll notice that in the timeline earlier, if you go back, it'll say export options. But here is resolution, frame rate, and code rate. Now, these are some things that you really don't have to worry about, but in the event that a video is way too large and you really need it to export and post it, the best that I can suggest is taking down your resolution to about 720p. Anything below that, it'll just kind of make it a little blurry, a little pixelated, and won't look the best. The 720p, P is for pixels, is just more condensed, but you still get the same good quality that you would get with similar to 1080p. 1080p is just much sharper, but 720 compresses your file to make it much smaller. So I would recommend going into your export options and dropping down that resolution rate. That will help with some of the sizing. Also, your frame rate will help with that as well. But I would not mess with it too much, because your frame rate could sometimes alter the movement in your video. It won't take away the quality. You'll just notice that the images are seeming to stutter just a little bit. And I'll explain that really quickly. So frame rate is capturing the amount of images in one frame to create a motion picture, okay, or to create a video. And so, for example, we have it set at 30 frames. So think 30 pictures in one video clip. So it's going, it's taking on those photos and capturing every single movement. If you have it at 60, which some of our filmmakers use, that's capturing everything. I mean, you can catch the dust, floating through the screen. But if you take it down to 30, maybe even 25 or 24, that will also help compress your video file so it's not so large. But let's say you don't have this option, okay? The next thing that you can do is look for something that will allow you to compress your video file. And oftentimes, apps such as your social media apps will ask if you want to compress your file. So look for that option as well. But what I will also recommend first, if you're going to film something, make sure that the resolution is about 1080p. You can do 4K, but just be mindful that your video will be very large. It may take some time to export. So just look at your settings before you record and before you export, okay? But great question, and I hope I answered it. Now, let's just jump back into our presentation for tonight. So we're going to talk about some things that you should be mindful of when sharing your videos. And so these are just essential tips for social media sharing. For you to safely share your videos, you want to make sure that you review privacy settings and avoid posting any personal information. Personal information could consist of license plates, and sometimes we're filming like at the cookout or something, and you don't recognize or realize that you're like filming everybody's cars in the background, and some license plates may be visible. So you want to be mindful of little things like that because that is linked to your personal information. Home addresses as well. You might want to post how beautiful your garden has turned out in the spring, but be mindful of not showcasing in the video your home address number or even the street that you live on. You want to be mindful of those things because you just never know who's watching the video that you are sharing, okay? Social media is open to everyone, so just be cognizant of that. So, sharing your videos on Facebook. I know that a lot of us use Facebook. We're using Facebook right now to teach you this lesson. Facebook is a great tool to share knowledge, information, photos, videos, those things. And so what you want to do first, before you even create your caption, you can do that if you want, but you want to be mindful of this button right here. So right under my name, it says friends. And then you have album. So that's just if you want to upload your video to one of your Facebook albums. But this button right here will bring up this privacy settings screen. And you can choose to post your video publicly. You can choose to post your video to just friends alone. You can make it a private video and just post it for only you to see. Or if you have a custom list of close friends, you can share that video with them. So it's just based on who you want to see the video. I will recommend making sure that your friends, that you select friends only. Again, this is your preference and this is your choice. If you want to make it public, by all means, make it public. This is your content. This is your creation that you want to share with the world. But, just be mindful that anybody will be able to see it if it's public. But if you just want something intimate to share, I would recommend starting out with friends and then seeing if you want any select people to see it. Because then if you just have a select group of people that you want to see your videos, then you can create a custom close friends list. And those people that you want to see the video will only see that video, no one else. So keep that in mind when you're sharing to Facebook. You can also do the same on Instagram or any social media platform. Just look for that privacy button or that who you want to post the video. Who do you want to see when you post your video? So just look for that. Some other tips, be mindful of location. So for example, you might be at a football game. That is a public venue. So it is okay to share that you were at the Carolina Panthers Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's okay to share that because that's public. But I would say be mindful of when you share it, Consider the odds of that you post your location and someone sees it that you don't want to know where you currently are. So you want to be mindful of that. So I would recommend posting your video with the location after you leave the venue. That's one way to remain safe when you're sharing details such as your location. But also some other things that to consider that you probably want to keep private. Sharing locations like your child's school. So if you were recording a video of your child at a recital or receiving awards, you don't want to really post the location of that school because you might not want anyone to know which school your children go to, or you might just want certain individuals to know that this was hosted at said school. So again, keep in mind the privacy settings, who you're sharing your video with. So if you just want friends to know that your child just won 10 awards, then make sure that when you share your video or your photos, make sure that you share it with the select group of people that you want to see that content. Also consider your audience. Again, this goes back to the privacy settings, whether you want it to be public, private, or for a select group of friends. And then make sure that you secure your accounts. Now, this is a different topic that's not dedicated to smartphone cinematics, but just make sure that you have strong passwords for all of your social media accounts so that no one can access your great stories that you have created, your videos or your photos. So make sure that you create strong passwords for your accounts, and also make sure that you do two-step verification. Now, that is probably a question that you might need to research just for your phone settings in particular. But two-step verifications gives you the option to get a text message alert when someone has accessed your account, or possibly an email. So those are some other settings that you could look into as well. And then just respect others' privacy. And so what this means is basically there's some information out there that might be tied to others. Just respectfully, I would say, hey, just have a conversation with them. Oh my gosh, I have this great video and it includes you and Aunt Risa, and I want to share it. Is that okay? Make sure just have that conversation with others, and more than likely they'll be happy or willing for you to share share the content that includes them. But just be sure to respect others' privacy when you're sharing your videos. Okay, so interacting with comments and reactions. And so oftentimes when we see posts and content and videos that we like, we just double tap, we like it, we leave comments. And so that's what really helps your videos shine. When people engage with your videos, when people like your photos, that's what helps get traction to your content and more views. And we love more views. We want people to see what we're creating. We want people to fall in love with what we have fallen in love with already. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about viewing comments, responding to comments and likes, and just engaging with your audience, because the work is not done once you've created the video and shared it. The people that you're sharing it with, they are important too, because more than likely, they're going to want to see more content from you. Okay. So I took a few little clips from the Sage Collective Facebook page, which I hope you all have liked and joined already. And so you'll notice here is a Sage Collective post that has a lot of comments. And so I'm pretty sure some of you are already familiar with this, but just to familiarize you or just to refresh your memory, to engage with select comments, you can like them individually or reply directly to them. And this right here lets you know exactly how many people have liked the post or comment already. And then you can kind of do that similarly with any of the comments that are below here. And you can even comment your own comment right there at the bottom and leave your own feedback. So feel free to share your videos and also comment and engage within the comment section in the likes of your own video, because you love your own stuff too. And your like matters and your comments matter. So it all helps with the engagement of your videos. And so right here also, you'll notice engagements here and comments and shares here. So when you share your videos and your photos, you want to look for these numbers right here down at the bottom of your post. They let you know how many people have engaged with your video and your photo. And it also lets you know how many people have commented and even shared your video. And so that just lets you know right there that people are loving exactly what you're doing and they want to create memories themselves. So I really hope that I have given you some insight on how to export your video and share your video with the world for the world to see and for you to engage with everyone and just talk about what it is that you love doing. And so, just to give you some more examples or just to refresh your memory, if you haven't joined us in part one and part two, these are just a few video editing apps that I recommend to help you start your smart cinematic journey: Filmora, CapCut, iMovie, and Splice. And there are a few others that you can also use as well. But as I mentioned in part one, just be mindful of which apps you're downloading and making sure that it does the job and has the tools that you're looking for. And then where to share: Facebook, Instagram, messages, and email, even other ways with your friends via other stories or other posts or reels. You can share directly from your video editing apps directly to your social media pages. Everything is linked. So just be on the lookout for those small cues and those small hints and tips that I gave you throughout this series. Now we're going to break and have some time for any more questions.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. No questions from me today. I just know I'm gonna go home and play with cinematic mode on my phone that you taught me in part one.
Yes.
I'm gonna edit on Instagram because you taught us in part two. And then I'm gonna share it to all of my friends and my family. And then I'm gonna see all the likes start rolling in, the likes in the comments, because I know that was the same way with your little baby boy.
Oh yeah.
Your little puppy.
They love him so much. They love seeing when I post him. So sometimes I have to stop posting him because they don't want to see me no more. They only want to see the dog. They say they know
Yes,
what
he's
I
a
look like.
star.
But it's great. I really hope that, and there's so many other things that I wish I could teach you all in the span of 30, 45 minutes. Because there's so many tools that you could utilize throughout the apps or just with your smartphone to edit your videos or your photos. And so I really just want you all to engage with part one and part two again, if you have the time, if you've missed it, to really just kind of see what else you can do to really bring your videos and photos to life. I really do hope that you all share it with Sage Collective, because I would love to see any of the videos that you have created from these lessons today.
Me too. Oh, and I do see we did get a quick question from Donna. Any suggestions for taking video through a car window?
Through a car window? That's a great question. So, first things first, safety is important. Okay. So, if you are driving, I would not recommend filming. However, they do make car mounts for you to do so. So, I would recommend buying an affordable car mount that you could just prop on your dashboard. They have like suction cups. There are a few options out there, but depending on where you live, if you live in hot Florida, I would be careful with those because they could really melt on your dashboard or get really sticky. But you also have some car mounts that have adhesives that you could stick to your window as well. So I don't know if you all have been familiarized or seen any like car vlogs. It is a thing. You can actually vlog and, share your content while you're driving.
Yes.
I don't recommend it, but they have the tools for you to be able to do that and safely. So Donna, I would recommend a car mount to help you with any of the videos that you want to create in your car, whether you're driving or parked. A car mount for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a good hands-free, safe hack
Right.
for taking videos while you're moving.
Exactly. You can on the road and just let the camera do its thing.
Well, thank you so much. If that's all the questions that we have for our audience, Dimitri, I can't believe that this is it.
No, I know. And the quickest lesson was to share your videos. This is the most simplest thing. And I wish I could go back into editing because I know people have more questions about it. But I hope that I'm able to do this in the future and go into more depth. So again, if you have questions out there, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and maybe Lauren, Donna, and Sage Collective will bring me back to answer them.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's so much more to learn. So we'd love to have you back.
Yes. And I would, if you have any questions about particular apps and how to utilize those, I'm more than willing to break those down for you too.
Yay! And as Dimitri mentioned, Feel free to revisit part 1 and part 2, and after we finish up tonight, you'll have the full series available right at your fingertips across all of our social media channels. We have Facebook, we have YouTube, and all the things, Twitter, LinkedIn, take your pick. And as Dimitri shared, if you have any videos that you want to share with our team, feel free to email us at advice@sagecollective.org. And please visit our website, sagecollective.org, to learn more about our Sage Advice learning programs and to register for upcoming classes, because we do have some things coming up, so please keep your eyes out. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. I hope you learned something new. And if you'd like to visit us again, we'll be here, same place. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.